We're rolling?
Yep, you good to go?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying happy birthday to Elvis.
Didn't even know it was Elvis's birthday.
Today is Elvis.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And he would have turned 90.
Elvis who? Oh, okay.
Boy, you can get in trouble for that, Roger. But I do.
Everybody knows I'm joking. I hope.
Amen. But I do have one of my favorite ever guests here for a second time, Roger Murrah.
Great to be here, Taylor.
And we appreciate you being here. And the man of the hour, Connor Myers.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you here, man.
It's amazing to be here.
You know,
I'm glad to have him here. I've been working with this guy for a while now, and I'm excited about getting everybody else excited about him.
I'll tell you, speaking of Elvis, he would have been excited about you. You do Christian music, you do country music, you were in the military and law enforcement. So why don't you start by since I just gave you a little brief Wikipedia, why don't you give you a little bit more of an intro?
Well, we're from a little bit different places. I mean, I grew up in central New Jersey, but if you want me to start there,
yeah,
I'm from Garwood, New Jersey. So, literally a mile squared of a town in the middle of one of the most dense cities. But yeah, I grew up there, born and raised. My mom is from Hagerstown, West Virginia. My dad's from Plainfield, New Jersey. So they met in the Navy. So that combo right there kind of created this, I guess. But yeah, my mom was a big country music fan when I was growing up. My dad, not so much. Rock and roll guy.
Good.
Was a police officer my entire life. But I, oddly enough, never got into country music.
So it's a family business for y'all to be in law enforcement.
Kind of, yeah. Mine was short-lived, but yeah, for good reason.
Now, how did you get connected with the legendary Roger Murrah?
That is funny, actually. So one day, my wife and I, she's back in town from when I told you before. She was in school to be a chiropractor. And we actually randomly just stopped at McGavick's in Franklin. And I don't think I've ever eaten there or anything before. And I went in line.
Where is that?
Huh?
Where is that?
The Harpeth.
Harpeth
Hotel.
Downtown.
Little plug.
Yeah. And I got in line, and Roger and I had made eye contact with each other a couple times, and I sat down to eat breakfast, and Roger actually came over and was like, hey, I think you look pretty familiar. And we just kind of struck up a conversation. It turned into music. I had no idea who Roger was, no idea at all. He gave me his first name, and that was it. And we just honestly had a heart-to-heart that day, and I don't even remember who asked to write. I don't know if I had the
I'm sure I did.
Worked up the courage to ask you, but we
That's
set
the way
a date.
I am.
But I remember that we set a date to write and put it in the calendar, and it's awesome. And then I walking out to my car. I said, let me look up his name real quick. And I Googled Roger Murrah. My wife was waiting in the car. She's just doing something. And I got in and I was like, look who I just met in there. I'm going to write with him. And she was like, are you kidding me? How does this happen? But so we set a date to write. And that was probably about 3 years ago now. And we've been doing it since.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead.
If you don't mind, Taylor and Connor, let me punctuate that with a little more color. First of all, I've developed a lot of writers through the years. I've had that privilege and pleasure to do that, being a retired independent music publisher. And Connor is the most talented for his age at the time when I first met him that I had ever come across. And it's saying a lot because I've developed some really, really good people like Mark Allen Springer, Luke Bryan, Neil Cody. The list goes on and on. People who have written hits after we started working together. But anyhow, I really wanted to underline that because what got me excited really quick after Connor and I worked together was the fact that he could write up-tempo things with meat in them, which is the hardest song there is to write. Most all writers want to write ballads. We're just like that, you know. But he could do that, and so anyhow, he's a very talented guy, and I want the whole world to know about him.
Well, so let's introduce people to some songs you've written. What's your favorite song you've written that's out there in the ether right now?
Oh, that's out there right now. I got a lot of favorites, but they're not out there yet.
Not out there yet?
Man, I think it's an obscure one, but a lot of stuff I have out there is speaks to who I was when I first moved here. But I think my writing started changing a lot when I wrote that Roots song. Roots is actually, I think that I wrote that song in about 15 minutes. And it was the first song and the first time I let myself connect with a song from the heart and not just trying to write something, radio. And it was for my grandfather. And it had the ultimate depth behind it, The song is literally about a tree that my brother and I used to climb in his backyard growing up for years. And, I moved away from home, and as we got older, that tree just, every time I'd go see my grandfather, it just started getting older, started dying off, and eventually had to cut it down because it was just, it just got to that point. It was dangerous after a while.
Yeah.
But it resonated with me because I just watched my grandfather go through the same thing. And so I related that tree to him. And that was the first time as a songwriter, I really put a lot of thought into a song that I just was laying down on paper, and it was the fastest song I had ever written. So that's probably it. And I'm excited for more to come out now because that's just what has been naturally happening now. It's just like, wow, when I write from the heart and when I write, kind of like me and Roger have written so many songs now. Like he said, just up-tempo or ballads too. But Roots is probably my top one out there right now.
Who are some of your main influences as an artist and as a writer? That's a
tough one. As a writer first, I would say, not because he's sitting right next to me, but Roger. Roger has been influencing me since I was a kid, and I didn't even know it.
And you didn't even know it. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, man?
Wow. My mom would play, God knows how many songs that Roger was a part of or wrote himself. I'd hear songs on the radio all the time my mom would play, records that Roger's been a part of making and writing. And I kind of blocked him out. I pushed him off because I wanted the music that my friends were listening to growing up in New Jersey. And I joined the military, and a lot of the songs that she was listening to just impacted me in a different way.
Right.
Especially when I moved here, it was just like the songs just were not right for that time in my life when I was a child. And I think when I needed direction and needed something real, those songs kind of hit me. And so Roger is a writer for sure. A lot of folks that he's written with.
Checks in the mail, man.
That's done.
And I'll add a tip. Roger, what is it like for you? So you've done everything any aspiring songwriter could dream of doing in their career. Do you get excited when you see someone like Connor and you see the passion?
Oh yeah.
That you feel like music's going to be in the right hands in the future?
Well, that's a loaded question.
There.
That's two questions. But do I get excited? I really do when I see a talented young writer, young potential writer. Yeah, I love it. It does to me what a great song will do to me. And nothing moves me more than a great song. Whether it's one I've attempted to write or may have had a part in writing, or what other people have written. I just love a great song. And so I love those people who they originate with.
Yeah.
And I particularly wanted Connor to tell everybody about the very first song that brought you here, that Sarah loves so much.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah. That was the first, I think, full country song that I wrote. It's not out there yet, unfortunately. Hopefully it will be, because it's a great message. But I got out of
Title.
Overseas. Yeah. It's called Overseas.
I know. I looked it up and I couldn't find it, but I know about the song. But please tell us.
Well, I got out of the Marine Corps in 2014, and we moved back to New Jersey. I never wanted to go back there, but we did while we were figuring out what we were doing. And I started a job working with my brother actually, for this company called Air Liquide, and I was a production technician just making chemicals, and I never thought like my life would take me there. But I was night shift working there, and the day before I had to go back to work, I'd pull all-nighters, so I got back to that rhythm. And like 2 a.m, I don't know what possessed me to just pick up a guitar, and I started writing that song, and I finished it quickly. It's another one of those songs. And I woke Sarah up at like 2 a.m., 2:30, and I was like, hey, I want you to listen to the song for me. And she's like half asleep. She's like, what are you talking about, a song? Like, you wrote a song? I was like, yeah, I just wrote this song, and I want you to listen to it. And I played it to her, and she's in tears by the end of it. And she just looked at me, and she said, we're moving to Nashville. And I put the next night, I put in my week notice to my boss, and I was like, hey, I got to leave. I'm moving to Nashville next week. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm going to go write music for a living. He was like, okay, first of all, that's awesome. Second of all, like, good luck, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, so I'm excited for that one to come out. And actually, it was my really good friend and, co-writer, not on that song, but a lot of songs I wrote. Kevin Rooney produced that one while I was working for Ron and Yellow. And man, he just did such a beautiful job with it. So I think at the right time, that song, it'll come out.
Well, I'm excited for it because I've been digging for it. And Roger knows if I start digging, I'll find something.
Yeah,
and I can't find it.
Soon, only good time.
But it's a beautiful story, because it's great that it's in your bio. And I'm like, now I want to hear this dang song.
Yeah.
And his wife,
I've
got to add this quickly. His wife is the most supportive spouse I have ever seen. And I've been in this business forever, since water. And she just is so supportive. She went to college, became a doctor, and it was all to support this guy, for him to live his dream.
Yeah.
And she's just an amazing woman.
She's a doctor?
She is.
And she had to completely change her life to move to Franklin? Or Nashville?
Well, actually, she became a chiropractor when we moved here.
Okay.
So it's been like the storyline of our time in Nashville is just, it's unbelievable.
But I like dreams. I like chasing a dream like that because you didn't think about it too much. A week after overseas and you're gone.
Yep. And my wife Sarah is a extremely detailed thinker. She's a deep thinker. And she typically doesn't make decisions unless it's the right thing.
Yeah.
And that was one of those off the cuff things that I knew it was God working through her.
Yeah.
Now I know it was God working through her. I didn't then. But that was one of those God things that we just had to do it. That was the right time to do it.
Well, so you bring up a God thing, and this is important when Roger and you are both in the room because you consider yourself a Christian country artist, right?
I do.
What role does faith play for you as you're chasing this dream?
Everything. It's everything. I don't want to draw my story too more. I guess that's why we're here, but yeah, that has been everything. I moved here not knowing why I wanted to, do music. I just loved it. And I think without sounding at all judgmental, like towards anyone in music, I didn't move here for why I was called to be in music. I came here with the intent to be successful, the intent to be an artist. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just started writing country music. I started putting out country music and ended up working with some phenomenal people, like really good people. I still am. And it just was not what God was calling me to do in music. I was broken already from my time serving in the military and just a bunch of life things.
Yeah.
And I kind of just swallowed that all and picked up and said, well, this is my new life now, and I'm just going to do music. Didn't know why. But ultimately, I became a Christian almost 3 years ago. I was born again, almost. And my direction became clear after that. And faith now has guided every single aspect of my life and has reshaped everything. When Christ truly entered my life, it was night and day of what I'm supposed to do as an artist. But when I was saved, though, that same weekend, some good friends of mine invited me and my wife to the church that we go to now, Conduit Church in Franklin. And I went there, and I had been battling mentally, spiritually for a long time. Was I going to go out of music because it had become toxic to me? Should I just go back to being a police officer or whatever I was doing at the time? Because ultimately I just wanted to serve. I just wanted to help people, and I didn't see how I was going to do that with music. I was doing it for myself. I was doing it for money. I was doing it for an image. And after I started on the worship team there at this church, all my prayers were answered in that sense. And Conduit Church is just a mission-focused church, and they have pastors there, Eric Newberry, Darren Tyler, Mothim, and they just are in the heart of things in Pakistan, in Haiti, in Uganda, and they are just, they're helping people that no one else is.
Oh, wow.
They're setting people free from slavery and from trafficking, all different things. And I remember somebody walked up to Roger one time when we were writing a song, and they referenced Don't Rock the Jukebox. And they said, man, that's the song that just keeps on paying. And it struck right there in my head. We were in the middle of a song, and I said, I just want to write a song that keeps on freeing. And that is the ultimate goal and direction in music now, is freedom.
Oh, wow.
I just want to do my part that I've been called to do, that I finally, for the first time, have been obedient to God in what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
Yeah.
Because I love music, but I just didn't know what part it played in my life, honestly. And now I do.
Well, that's how we got Why Me Lord from Chris Christopherson.
Right.
Yeah.
One of those moments in church.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
After the baptism.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, Roger, I'm going to bring you in on this because I want to ask you. So, what Connor just laid out, there's the story right now in the press about P. Diddy. What he was doing to his artists, what he was doing as a result, and some of the things he made people do to try to get their shot.
Right.
Is it not the most important time, especially in the music business, to have a strong moral compass as you kind of enter this dream?
It is. It's always been a good time.
Right.
But it's an even better time perhaps now than ever. And it's always been important to me to not make distinctions on my faith and what I do to make a living. And I also have tried to encourage other writers to acknowledge the responsibility we have as writers to write the kind of songs that uplift people, that free people, that serve people for a spiritual cause, not just a worldly existence. And so I take that very seriously, and I've actually watched Connor. I saw him become the man he's becoming. And I witnessed seeing this man change and seeing what the gospel of Christ did to him. Mm-hmm. And not to be, Connor nor I want to be preaching so much as to just acknowledging the what we do from a spiritual perspective, And I don't care what you're doing. If you're a welder, if you're a contractor, whatever you do, that's all we're doing. We're just doing what we do through what we do to make a living, and hopefully to affect the world, to uplift society, give healing and things like that. Music does that.
Your music does that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I hope it does.
You know the song that slows me down all the time?
What's that?
I'm in a hurry.
That's a great way to say it.
I
everybody tells me I wrote their song, because we all feel like that, We're in such a hurry. For what? You know?
For what?
Yeah, for what? And, yeah.
You know, I'll be driving in my car. So 106.7, you know, I've told you, I think, numerous times about that radio station here in Nashville.
Yeah.
Plays all your stuff all the time. And I'll be speeding to get somewhere, and I'm in a hurry, comes on, and I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
Calm the hell down.
Yeah.
Right.
10 minutes too late, no problem.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Of course, your parents used to tell you growing up, I don't care what it is. Just don't get in a wreck if you're 5 minutes late. And then you get home 5 minutes late and you get grounded. So,
Yeah, and they want to know if you have clean underwear on, too. Just in case you do, you know?
did your parents check your underwear?
Well, not directly, but
Well, no. But I do want to point something else out to people. So you have a lot of range. So you have a good cover on the internet of you doing circles.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
like nowadays that people are getting shout out to people who, you know, crossing over. So I like your range, and we need to tell people you're involved with the publishing company for, is it the producer of Bruce Springsteen?
So I did work for a company called Belly King Music, and it was actually owned by Ron and Yellow and Jason Wade, the frontman for Lifehouse. And so I worked with them right up until I think COVID hit, and still have a great relationship with them. That was probably, again, like just the right time, the right, you know, crafting, learning. I just wrote so many songs with those guys, and just had like a tremendous learning experience with them. Ron, I spent a lot of time with Ron in the studio, in writes, and wow, like not only is he just an incredible mentor like Roger, vocal coach, like I was so green in singing and writing and everything, even more green than when you met me. But he saw something and just dedicated a lot of time to help me out with it.
That's awesome.
I just had no clue, you know.
and who does he produce?
He has done so much. Oh my goodness! I mean, Google him. He's just you know, Lifehouse, like Shania, Gavin DeGraw, Jars of Clay. Now he's
The Boss.
He's
right?
been with the Boss for. He's been with Springsteen for, I think, since the Wrecking Ball album.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! What beautiful work he does. You know.
And didn't Bruce and you write a song?
Not in the same room. Not in the same room. So I wrote this song for my wife. Again, it's not out there. And but I wrote the song for my wife. It's a ballad. And I remember I sent it over to Ron, and he did an awesome production to it. He pretty much demoed it in Bruce's studio in New Jersey, in Colts Neck. And he somehow got it across to Bruce, and I guess he liked it, and he just heard the chorus a different way, I assume, and wrote down different words to it. And Ron sent me an updated version of it, basically, and he said, well, you can either say you've got a co-written song of Bruce Springsteen, or just say I like it the way it is. And I said, well, let me think about that for a little bit, and I'll get back to you. Just kidding.
How long did you think about this?
I really did, and I just wanted to sound pretty cool in a way.
So
But it was cool.
So you wrote a song with Bruce Springsteen.
Like I said, it's
He
one of those
edited your
things.
song.
He edited my song, and so
Because
I'm
he
going to
liked
go ahead
it.
and say, yeah. It actually, my friend Tim Cabry, actually in Asbury Park, New Jersey, put it in the the Bruce Springsteen archives that they have there, and so the lyrics are in there, everything. So I guess you could say, yeah.
I mean, that takes on a different meaning where you're from.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Both two New Jersey guys.
Now, you talked about Roots. I just want to tell people, go listen to Roots, because it almost has that where corn don't grow feel to me.
Oh man, that's good to hear.
And you didn't write that with Roger, right?
No, that was me.
Oh, no,
I
that's
just wrote that
unreal.
myself.
Now, Roger, you have to tell me about writing where corn don't grow.
Wow. Well, okay, when I started my publishing company, I had just completed my last publishing deal as a writer with Tom Collins Music. And I literally and figuratively stood on his front porch on 16th Avenue, looked up and down the road, and I thought, I've been with the big one, I've been with the little one, I've been with that one, this one, that one. Maybe it's time for me to walk on out on the limb and do my own thing. Mm-hmm. At that time, I had 3 hits out as a writer. So I had a good bit of money coming in, so it was a good time to financially to take a risk. And so I went into the publishing, started Murrah Music Corporation, and the first writer I signed was Mark Allen Springer. And Mark brought that song, the beginning of that song, to me. And the title knocked me out. I just loved it. I didn't know what we were going to do, but I just knew it was special. And not unlike when Alan brought Don't Rock the Jukebox to Keith Stigall and me, we knew that title had the magic, you know? So Where Corn Don't Grow became an opportunity for me and Mark to basically give homage to our growing up on the farm and appreciating those good feet on the earth people who farm for us all, and which included my dad and my mother's people back through the years. They were all farmers. Anyhow, it's our homage to that. And it touches on the story of the prodigal son. And it's a typical story of a young boy thinking he's going to have to go somewhere to do it because he can't do it at home. And of course we learn, we go, and then we find that what we left was what we're after.
Yep.
And that's what that song's all about. But Mark brought that idea to me, and it was such a pleasure to write it with him. Big pleasure.
Yeah, it's one of the best songs ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, we talked about it on the Blast podcast, but it's just still the one. I've always found that song to be, you know, the long form of a saying I heard one time. It's not wrong to chase a dream as long as you're not running away from something else. Mm-hmm. You know?
I love that.
I hear that.
I love that, buddy.
I mean, that really, it kind of pulls into what we were talking about, you know, having a strong moral compass when you get here.
Yep.
If you're just here because you're desperate to get away from where you're from, man, you'll compromise a lot. Mm-hmm. But if it's what you actually want, not just to prove people wrong back home,
that's right.
Then you're going to have, you might be the kind of guy who will tell Bruce Springsteen you're not going to write a song with him.
You know, Taylor, let me just quickly say, I think my favorite line in that song is, and I remember well writing the line, I remember feeling guilty when Daddy turned and walked back in the house. And it makes chills on me now to think about it, because that kid, he really had insulted his dad. Mm-hmm. His dad was doing all he could for the family. And the kid, in his lack of knowledge and experience, was insulting the dad for doing his best. And it kills me every time I hear it, because we do that unknowingly all the time when we're growing up.
Yeah,
we do stupid things.
And we, you know, it's part of growing up, but you know, it's a hard regret. I hate the feeling of regret, but it's such a beautiful emotion when you find out you didn't know crap back in the day. Mm-hmm. But you know, that song reminds me a lot of Fields of Home. That's another one that has that same feeling.
Wow.
But that song, I mean, when you just said that, chills.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you and everything you've done. That's why I'm excited. You know, Connor, a lot of people don't get the opportunity to like have a mentor of Roger's ilk, but also of a strong foundation.
That's right.
You know, when someone like myself who has been in this industry so long, you know, I love passing it on, as they say.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pass it on for it to be wasted.
Yeah.
And I can feel that way with Connor. I'm not wasting my what I'm passing along. He'll put it to good use and already has. And so it's a great honor to work with young people like that.
Yeah. What is your writing process like? Do you have a process?
Man.
Do you believe
It's
in
changed.
Do you
It's
believe in the
changed.
muse?
What is that?
The muse, the inspiration. A wife can be your muse.
Man, I think just like anything else, it's like you just said, it's maturing. I'm still maturing. I'm still going through that. I think, like I talked about before, when I wrote Roots, it was just the inspiration. I didn't know where it was coming from half the time. I would grab it from anywhere I could. Like, oh, here's an idea, and I just write something.
But I can tell you, Connor, if I might interrupt here.
Please.
I know what his muse is right now. It's his spiritual growth.
There you go.
The journey he's on is really stirring this young man in his ideas and how to do that to affect people in a positive way, not in a preachy way, but in a positive way, to really affect them with the spiritual aspect of why we're living.
Yeah.
And that's his muse. I've watched it. And he has other things that are muses. We all do. Mm-hmm. But that's really paramount.
Yeah, I've been in so many rooms now where it's like, and sometimes it works different ways. And like, I am very relational with other writers. Like I found like most of them are, but the best writes I've been in is like, obviously if you know them going into it. If you don't, I've been in the room with two people I've never met before, and then kind of a write has been set up based off someone's idea that we would write well together. And instead of just going and sitting down and sitting there for an hour, like, I don't know anything about them and just trying to be, connect in certain ways over a song you're trying to write, I think that's the worst way to do it. For me personally, that's the worst way for me to do it. Every time now I write with someone, and we've done this with, everyone we've written with together. I'll get there like 10 minutes early, and I'll be like, hey, you want to grab a coffee real quick? Like right around the corner if we're on like Music Row or something. I'll be like, let's go run and grab a coffee real quick, because that 5 minutes or that 10 minutes, I may already have, they may be looking for a songwriting idea, they may have an idea, but that 5 or 10 minutes is like, we're like brothers and sisters by the time we walk into that room. And it's like, that's really the most important thing. But I go in a room, sometimes people are like, oh, do you have an idea what you want to write about or anything? I'm like, I have an emotion. And they're like, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, that's my thing. I don't know. It's like, if I could write a song off of a good hook or off of something catchy you thought, but I have to have something I'm connected to. I have to have like something tangible that I'm like, I feel it before I even write it. And that's how I know this is going to be a good write. Yeah. I can't just go in and be like, well, let's think of something super clever. It's like, clever's good, but you're never going to beat authentic. You're never going to beat the emotion coming out of a song. If you don't have an emotion behind a song you're starting or I'm starting, it never goes well. It never goes well.
So when I was reading your bio, I had to tell you, when I saw that you were a police officer, I was like, oh, I bet he got some great country songs ideas from being a police officer.
Ironically, I grew up in central New Jersey. So going and working for Franklin, Tennessee Police Department was kind of
sweeter.
It was nice. Sweeter. It was nice. Yeah. I felt pretty safe. We'll just say that. It was a great job. But it was just interesting, like, working there. The best songs, some of the songs I got out of it, I did write a father-son song, that will come out very soon. I promise you that. And mostly I think the reason I even became a police officer to begin with is just for the experience. Like, I don't know if I so much had a passion to do it, but my dad did it for 34 years, and he did everything. He was in one of the worst counties in New Jersey. He was narcotics, and he was homicide, and he was all these things. And I watched him just like champ all the way through it, all the way up to like deputy chief, like major crimes division of our county. Wow. And I was like, man, he's just a rock of a man. Like he's just solid.
But you like serving people too.
that's
another way
honestly,
you can serve.
honestly, that's what it was. When I never had Christ in my life. So it was like growing up, it's like I saw that, and my dad was a great rock and great example of me to try to be like. He did a good job at that. But ultimately I joined the Marine Corps out of like an image of what my parents did. I'm like, oh, they're in the Navy, so I should do something cool like that. And it bit me in the backside. It just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
I did good things and I worked hard, but I didn't have good experiences out of it. It's because I joined it for a completely self-serving reason.
Yeah.
Same thing with the police department, but I did get a lot of like, vicarious things through my dad. Like I do have some good stories from working for Franklin, but sorry, I'm going on a tangent there.
No, I just had to bring it up because I really appreciate you for your service as a police officer and in military. Obviously you've done things for this country, and I hope you get your fair shot as an artist, because these are the kind of people we need to honor. These are the kind of people that, do things for us. And now that as an artist, I just imagine like there's so many things that you have to draw upon from inspiration. But I do think, for me, you get a little bit more credibility and someone I want to support because of what you've done for this country.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Seriously.
I'm not the guy to call when they say defund the police. I am the wrong guy to call for that statement.
Well, I'm right there with you. I've worked with some, growing up, that was all I knew, cop friends. Like,
yeah.
I met some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And I've served with some of the best
My dad was a
people.
police too.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Wow.
For several years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is interesting. Just a quick thought runs through my head. I remember someone telling me about Daddy arresting them for public drunkenness. And the next day, he was loaning the guy money for his family. That's the kind of daddy I had.
Oh,
you
wow.
know? And they really loved him for that. He was respected a lot because of the kind of man he was. But he would give you a ticket. But he might make you a loan the next day.
And that's exactly like you just said, living your faith out loud no matter what you're doing. That's a prime example of it.
Yeah. It's in the actions, not in the words.
That's right.
Yes.
I have to mention, so haven't you told me before that your dad is where you got your wit from?
Yes.
Well, thank God for your dad. Cause
yes. Just quickly, I don't want to take from Connor's time, but my dad never thought he contributed that much to me in what I did, because, the average Joe, they don't, for good reasons, don't understand the music industry or entertainment and all that kind of stuff, bigger than life stuff. And, but he died in his 90s, and before he died, I was able to remind him, Daddy, you gave me your wit, and I've made a living with that. Mm-hmm. So I was able to let him know how much he contributed. Plus, he traded a pickup truck for an upright piano for me.
Oh, that's right.
And I learned to play by ear, So he did a lot.
That's right. I forgot.
But he didn't feel like he did anything.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. That's the way parents can be, though,
Yeah, well,
they don't know how much they do for you.
I love that you're being a father figure to other writers. That's, you're a great mentor.
Thank you.
What do you think the future of country music looks like?
Country music?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Christian music?
It's hard to even think of it like an industry anymore. In my mind, anyways, it's a ministry. I just have completely taken a new look on it with not so, blind eyes anymore. I think what I'm doing personally, and whoever supports that, great. Whoever needs it, amazing. But that is the direction I'm headed in, is away from the industry and towards the ministry.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. And I just think, like, from here on out, what does it look like? I don't know. Is it a church during a concert? I have no idea. Is it a combination of a bunch of things? But I do know, like I said, the rest of my career is based off of one word, and that's freedom. So industry stuff, I don't know, and we'll see where it goes from here. But
now, have you written that freedom song yet?
Yes.
So is it finished?
Yeah. So I actually wrote that with Roger, and one of many.
What was the name of it?
Born. So we actually wrote it with Andrew Berthold with We the Kingdom, and it's called Born Again. And that was a very, very, the Holy Spirit showed up for this right.
Well, I want you to send it to me.
Oh my goodness, I will send you the Dropbox file.
I will not share it with anybody, I promise.
Because man, that was one of those freedom songs. That was that's on the list, very soon too. So
when will all of this stuff be coming out? Do you kind of have a specific time frame?
Yeah, I do. It's not my time frame because I've been doing this since 2016 professionally.
Yeah.
And it has just been such a clear message that I am entering into a time now where the direction is so clear. So things are rapidly God is just completely speeding up things, and I just have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
So to answer that, it's now. And I'm very excited for that.
In the months ahead, yeah.
In the months ahead, we are, we're in that time frame now. I feel like, especially like you just said, the future of it is, I feel like the future of music is God. That's just the way I think.
We're learning how to dance with social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a new requirement of people trying to create an audience. Mm-hmm. And it's a big learning curve for people like me who've been around forever. The stuff I knew all about, they've changed it.
Yep.
It's a new deal. It's a new day.
Yep.
And we're really getting ready to amp up social media on Connor and certainly get more of his really good stuff out.
Yeah.
Well, we know some people now that are big in social media space, so they'll be good consultants on that.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It's a weird space now, man, because, there were so many curators back in the day. My curators were the radio station and basically the A&R guys. I didn't know who Alan Jackson was in 1987, but Tim Dubois comes along and, signs him to Arista, and 3 years later, that's how I know who Alan Jackson is.
Right.
Nowadays, those gatekeepers, they're gone.
Yeah.
You get on social media, and if you get some traction, now you have an open audience to the entire world that you don't have to go knock on a door to get your shot necessarily.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's really an interesting time.
Really
and I don't know if it's better or worse in some ways.
But it's really different.
It's different.
That's the biggest word. It's different.
And it's the way it is.
And it's a new dance. We have to learn the steps.
That's right.
Do you enjoy social media as an artist?
I didn't, and honestly, I don't at all still. But something interesting Darren Tyler says at Conduit, he's one of the pastors at Conduit all the time, says is we're going to have to combat it, and there's a way to use social media in super positive ways.
Yes.
If there's going to be all types of stuff on the scroll, might as well put the scroll in it. And I love that he says that. So that's kind of the thing, is that's been honestly like the major delay in jumping into that world, because I love writing the music. I love meeting the people. I love singing, and, I love helping people. And that's the last piece of it now, social media. And it's like, for me, it's the most frightening thing in the world, which is strange. But because you're looking at a guy who still has like trouble putting together like a reel. So to know what it takes and that side of things, but it's exciting now because I'm now that I'm ready to share a lot of the stuff we've been working on and have a direction. It's like, all right, let's do it, just like anything else. So,
have you had anyone walk up to you yet and tell you that a lyric you wrote changed their life?
Actually, yeah. I've had people kind of reach out over like live performances, especially over the new stuff that I have. But there have been songs out there like You Make Me, like I wrote that one and put that out. And people have asked me to play at weddings for it. And like, so there's been different like categories of things that people have said that about my music. And that's been like the most honoring thing ever. It's been amazing.
Isn't that the best feeling?
It is quite a feeling. And I think you'll feel that one day. I think you're on the right track, Roger.
I didn't know what the heck you were talking about.
I was on your way, but I said, what the hell's he talking about? Man, I'll tell you what, you got Roger's wit. He's been wearing off on you.
I'll get you for that, man.
Because he's gotten me like 10 times.
Oh man.
We were having lunch one time, and I told him I'm buying lunch, and he called the waitress over and he said, well, give me another plate.
Yeah.
No, that's got to be a heck of a feeling. I can't imagine what that's felt like over the years. I really can't. But even from my small scale things, like I worship at this place called Place of Hope in Columbia, Tennessee. I'm actually leading my first sermon there.
Oh, cool.
Just testifying, really. And it's a rehabilitation center, drug and alcohol, and my church sponsors it. And we lead worship there. They lead ministry portion of it there. And it is amazing to be able to share, whether it's worship or other songs that I've written. I've shared songs there that have really opened some eyes and opened some hearts to Christ. And it's like, whether it's there or playing in front of 10,000 people, that is the feeling I'm chasing. And it doesn't matter if there's one person in that 10,000 of people that feels what they feel in that moment. That is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You know, Taylor, we want to reach out to your audience. Mm-hmm. We want to invite them. Help us find you.
Yeah.
For Connor. We're looking for you.
Okay.
And we're going to be going down every path.
Yes.
Looking for the people who care about what he's doing.
Yeah.
And they're going to not be taken for granted.
Well, I've looked on your YouTube videos, and you get a lot of comments, so I know you're connecting with an audience.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I was supposed to come see you and Roger perform, but I think y'all ended up canceling the date.
Okay. Yeah.
But I have to point out, sometimes the ministry is the message, and sometimes it's just the person's spirit. Mm-hmm. And this is my favorite thing about when you go see Roger Murrah perform live. That smile is as much of a message as any scripture, because the way he carries himself.
That's right.
Man, I enjoy it so much, man. I enjoy it so much. It's such an honor for me to, when we have our groups together, people that I've worked with, and we share our stories, and people are entertained by that.
Yep.
They love the camaraderie of people on the stage.
Yeah.
They love it that we deal with each other every day, Mm-hmm. And it's just a natural thing, man. It really is.
That was actually like one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of since I moved here. It was like, Roger's invited me to a couple writers rounds now, and I played with him, Mark Allen Springer, Keith Stegall, just like a lot of people that I've just, so honored to have shared the stage with. And that was one of the coolest things ever, is just watching their wit, like on stage, is just how they are able to put people in such a space. Just it was so, man, that's part of my lack of wit, is being able to explain just what you do.
Yeah, but you're
on
coming
stage.
You're coming on strong, though, man. I mean, it's I tell you what moves people is honesty. They love it, boy. They love the fact that we struggle in our lives just like they do.
Yeah.
And I had years of struggle before I had any success. And success, as the world would say. Mm-hmm. But and it's a lot of the magic's in the struggle, man.
That's right. I think right now there's more of a hunger for authenticity than there's ever been.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're actually seeing it in social media, where people are kind of rebelling against people that are out there selling crap on social media.
Yeah.
And there really is a move towards authenticity, and ground zero for it's going to be music.
That's right. It's kind of been that way through history.
Good,
I think.
right.
Music's
Good
always followed
point.
the times. My father-in-law consistently says that.
We're starting to see artists who are like willing to do voice memos. They'll just record something on their phone and they'll post it on social media, and people seem to be more into that than the well-produced songs that they release.
Yeah.
Because you're not hiding behind anything.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
What else do we have? Anything else we need to promote? Anything else we need to talk about?
Connor Myers, that's what we're here to promote.
I know.
Yeah.
But also, Roger, you might have a podcast, so people stay tuned for that. We'll just
Yes, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
I hope.
Now, Connor, where can people find you?
It's my favorite part. Well, all my handles are Connor Myers Music, so you can find me anywhere there, I guess.
So people spell different Connor, so let's just say Connor.
Myers.
Okay.
Music. Hopefully you can spell that one.
Yeah, well, but you never know nowadays with the crazy spellings. Well, listen, y'all, I really appreciate y'all being here. Connor, it's awesome to meet you, man.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And
Thank you, Tyler. Tyler.
I've been Tyler half my life.
I'm sorry.
Every time I get caught at Cracker
I was
Barrel.
excited. And
Man.
I say the wrong words and I get excited.
No, you're fine. I know who Roger
Taylor
Murrah is.
Swaid.
Taylor Swaid.
Swaid. What a name.
Well, hey, could I tell him we have a little bit of time? So the first time I met Roger, this is how quick he is. He said, "Hey, what's your?" I talked to him for like 5 minutes, and I was just so nervous meeting him. I forgot to say my name. So he said, "By the way, what's your name?" And I said, "Taylor Swaid." And he goes, "Oh, almost."
That's good, buddy.
Yeah, but no, you mean the world to me, Roger.
Thank you.
And
That's mutual.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you've come on for a second time. That makes me feel pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
So anyway, Connor Myers, Facebook, Instagram.
That's right.
Are you on TikTok?
I am.
Maybe till January 19th. We'll find
Maybe.
out.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes.
But y'all, please check out Connor's music. He is Roger Murrah approved, and as of today, Taylor Swaid approved.
Yes.
Thank you very
But we
much.
really appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
Y'all, it's been great spending time with y'all.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, y'all.